Capricorn, listen closely, because this is not an accident, this is not a coincidence. This very moment you are watching right now is a divine appointment. The Big Friday has arrived, and with it comes a miracle that is about to change everything in your life. But before we dive into what this really means for you, I want you to pause for just a moment and take action, because alignment is not passive, it's active. So hit that subscribe button, tap like, and comment. I receive my Friday miracle right now, because as you engage with this word, you're not just interacting with a video, you're planting a seed into your own destiny. Every action is a declaration, and today your declaration will echo into your tomorrow. Now let's begin with something you've been feeling deep in your spirit. You've sensed that something is shifting. It's like the air around you has been heavy, but in that weight, there's been an expectation. You've been waking up at odd hours, sometimes restless, sometimes in silence, feeling like there's something you should be doing but can't quite name. That's not random. It's the stirring of destiny. Think of Moses in the wilderness. He wasn't expecting a miracle, he was just tending sheep, yet a burning bush appeared to him, ordinary work turned into extraordinary calling. And Capricorn, that's exactly how this Big Friday is entering your life. You've been doing ordinary things, often unnoticed, but suddenly the ordinary is about to ignite into something divine. Your journey hasn't been easy. You've carried responsibilities that were too heavy for one person, burdens that others would have dropped long ago. You've smiled through storms, given when you barely had enough, and worked harder than anyone saw. People may have called you strong, but they don't know the nights you cried alone. They don't know the silent battles you fought in your own mind, trying to hold it all together. Yet every tear was counted, every sleepless night was recorded, and this is why this moment is not an accident, it's an answer. Do you remember the story of Job? Everything he had was stripped away, his wealth, his children, his health. Friends accused him, his wife told him to give up, yet Job held on to his faith, and in the end he received double for all he lost. Capricorn, you felt stripped, you felt like life has taken more than it gave. But what if I told you that the very evidence of your struggle is proof that double restoration is near? What if the weight you've carried wasn't to crush you, but to prepare you for a double portion? That's why this Big Friday is not just another day, it's the beginning of your turnaround. Let me share a real-life story with you. There was a man named Steve Jobs, co-founder of Apple. At the height of his career, he was fired from his own company. Can you imagine the humiliation, the heartbreak? Yet, what looked like the end became the setup for the greatest comeback. During that time away, he founded another company, and eventually Apple needed him back. When he returned, he didn't just restore Apple, he revolutionized the world. Capricorn, you've had moments where you've been pushed out, overlooked, or even betrayed. But what if I told you that rejection was redirection? What if the very door that closed on you was God's way of steering you to a bigger, more divine opening? You see, Capricorns are builders. You don't just dream, you create foundations. You don't just talk, you work. But sometimes the builder in you feels weary because while you've built for others, you've been left out of the housewarming celebration. While you've poured into others, you've been the one left empty. But here's the truth. The stone that the builders rejected became the cornerstone. You may have been the one overlooked, underestimated, or even mocked. But that is only because your elevation couldn't be handed out casually. It had to be revealed in divine timing. As a reason you've been delayed. You thought the delays meant denial, but they were divine. Winston Churchill once said, "To each, there comes a moment to be tapped on the shoulder and offered a chance to do a very special thing unique to them." For years, Churchill was seen as a failure, bouncing from one mistake to another until the Second World War erupted. Suddenly, every mistake, every rejection, every long year of preparation made sense. He was the only one ready for the role of saving a nation. Capricorn, your delays have been preparation. The world has been waiting for you to step into your moment. And this Big Friday is the shoulder tap you've been waiting for. But let me ask you something. Haven't you noticed the signs? The repeated numbers, the sudden interruptions, the moments where everything seemed to pause. These are not accidents. These are whispers. God whispers before he thunders. Maybe you've been seeing the same dreams, hearing the same phrases, or experiencing the same patterns. That's the burning bush moment. The question is, are you paying attention? And here is where it gets deeper. Before every breakthrough, there is a breaking point. That's why the pressure has been so intense. That's why you've felt like giving up recently. Before a seed bursts into life, it must break underground in the dark, unseen. That's been you, Capricorn, breaking in silence but about to bloom in public. Remember J.K. Rowling? She was a single mother, nearly homeless, writing in cafes, rejected by publisher after publisher. Yet the very rejection was proof that her gift was not small, that it was waiting for the right stage. When Harry Potter finally broke through, it wasn't just a book, it became a global phenomenon. Capricorn, your gift has been underestimated because it's not meant to fit into small boxes. It's meant to explode onto the stage of life when the timing is right. And timing is everything. Harriet Tubman didn't free slaves by chance. She followed intuition, divine whispers, and unlikely allies. She trusted what couldn't be seen and turned into the deliverer of many. Your intuition, Capricorn, is sharper than you think. The delays, the strange nudges, the people entering and leaving your life, all of it has been aligning you with destiny. Someone is about to step into your path, someone who looks ordinary but carries a divine connection for your next chapter. And you might not even realize it when they show up. But let me pull you deeper still. This isn't just about money or status, though that will come. This is about freedom. Financial freedom, yes. Emotional freedom, yes. But above all, spiritual freedom. David was a shepherd boy, overlooked by his own father, but chosen by God to be king. Nobody saw him coming, yet when his time arrived, nobody could stop him. You are walking into a season where your hidden faithfulness is about to be publicly rewarded. And don't think this miracle is small. Elon Musk nearly went broke multiple times, even sleeping on friends' couches before Tesla and SpaceX soared. The miracle often shows up at the very edge of collapse. Capricorn, I know you've been stretched thin, maybe even wondering how much longer you can endure. That's the edge where miracles show up. That's the edge where destiny reveals itself. And now we come to the climax. The Big Friday miracle is not random, it's not sudden, it's been building quietly behind the scenes in every delay, every rejection, every sleepless night. You've been walking toward it even when you didn't realize it. And now it stands before you. But here's the mystery, it may have already begun. The people you're meeting, the strange opportunities opening, the unexpected favor showing up, these are not random. They're the whispers of the miracle unfolding. So here's what you need to do. Engage with this word. Comment, "My Friday miracle is here." Subscribe and declare it. Because when you engage, you're not just agreeing with me, you're aligning with destiny. There is power in declaration. Life and death are in the tongue, and your words will seal this miracle over your life. Capricorn, you've carried burdens in silence, you've been delayed in frustration, but you've been prepared for elevation. The stone that was rejected is about to become the cornerstone. The miracle isn't coming, it's here. And it's unfolding even as you listen, even as you breathe, even as you declare. The Big Friday has arrived. And yet something deeper still lingers in the air, something not yet revealed, a secret still hidden in plain sight. Capricorn, the moment you have been waiting for is closer than you realize, and I want you to pause right here and acknowledge something. Your presence here is not random. This is a divine alignment, a whisper from the universe, and a sign that your steps are being ordered. Before I go deeper, I need you to do something bold right now. Subscribe, comment, "I received this breakthrough," and like this message, because that single action is more than interaction, it is agreement. And when you agree with the word, you give permission for it to manifest in your life. Destiny responds to agreement, not hesitation. Don't let this moment pass you by, declare it with your action. You've been sensing it, haven't you? A kind of stirring, a strange pull in your spirit as though something is shifting, yet you can't quite put your finger on it. You've noticed your dreams becoming more vivid, the timing of events becoming more unusual, the coincidences feeling too aligned to ignore. That is not imagination, that is preparation. You are being set up for a divine appointment that will look like an interruption at first, but it will be the breakthrough you've been waiting for. It reminds me of how Ruth met Boaz in the Bible. She wasn't seeking him, she was just faithful in the field, doing what she had to do to survive. Yet her faithfulness intersected with her destiny, and everything in her life changed in one moment of divine alignment. Capricorn, your ordinary day is about to be interrupted by extraordinary favor. But I know what you've gone through. You've carried struggles that no one else truly understands. You've been there for others, always the strong one, the problem solver, the dependable one, Yet when you needed someone to lean on, you often found yourself alone. You've given more than you received, worked harder than you were rewarded, and loved deeper than you were loved in return. And sometimes you wondered, when will it be my turn? When will my sacrifice, my patience, and my endurance finally pay off? That question is not only valid, it's prophetic, because the very fact that you've been asking it means the cycle is coming to an end. Pressure always precedes breakthrough. Let me take you to a true story that mirrors your own path. Oprah Winfrey, one of the most influential women in history, came from poverty, abuse, and rejection. Her early years were marked with hardship that could have broken her, yet she used every setback as a stepping stone. At one point, she was even told she wasn't fit for television. Imagine that, the very thing she was destined to transform, she was told she wasn't good enough for. But rejection became redirection. She didn't just break into television, she reshaped it forever. Capricorn, hasn't life told you before that you're not enough? Haven't you faced voices, sometimes even from people you loved, that tried to convince you your dreams were too big, your calling too unrealistic? And yet, something deep inside you refused to die. That resilience is proof of who you really are. There is a reason you feel heavy before something great happens. It's the same reason a mother feels the most pain right before giving birth. The contractions come faster, the pressure becomes unbearable, but it's only because something new is breaking forth. You've been in that season of pressure, finances stretched thin, relationships tested, health challenged, even your mind weary. But Capricorn, I need you to hear me. This is not the end, this is the delivery room. And just like a mother forgets the pain when she sees the child, you will forget the tears when you step into the promise. And look at history, Nelson Mandela spent 27 years in prison. Can you imagine that? Nearly 3 decades robbed from his life. But when he walked out of that prison, he didn't just become a free man, he became a leader who changed nations. His captivity was preparation for his crown. Capricorn, your restrictions, your limitations, your seasons where you felt caged, they were never punishment, they were positioning. What held you back is about to push you forward with double force. But I want to go deeper into your own heart right now. You've been dealing with silent battles. People don't even know how close you've come to giving up. You've smiled while breaking inside. You've given advice to others while secretly needing someone to rescue you. That hidden pain is not wasted. Even Jesus, before his resurrection, had to go through Gethsemane, crying out in anguish, asking if the cup could pass from him. But he endured, and because of his endurance, the greatest miracle of history was revealed. Capricorn, your private tears are watering the seeds of your public miracle. Now here, where it gets even more personal, have you noticed how certain people suddenly left your life? Some friendships ended without explanation, relationships crumbled, connections you thought were permanent disappeared. You asked yourself why, but what you didn't realize is that subtraction was divine protection. Not everyone is meant to sit at your table when God lays out your feast. Some were removed not because they were bad people, but because their presence couldn't handle your next level. And the emptiness you've been feeling is actually the space being cleared for the right people to enter. Think about Abraham Lincoln. He failed in business, lost elections, suffered multiple personal tragedies, and was seen by many as unfit for leadership. Yet his setbacks were shaping him into the man who would hold the United States together during its greatest crisis. Capricorn, your failures were never final, they were foundations. Every rejection, every no, every closed door has been building the strength you need for the season you are stepping into. But now I must tell you something that may shock you. This miracle coming into your life, this big Friday breakthrough, is not arriving the way you expect. It's not going to come dressed in lightning and fanfare. It will come quietly, disguised as something ordinary, just like the burning bush appeared to Moses as nothing more than a shrub on fire. The miracle doesn't always announce itself. It whispers, it nudges, it tests if you are paying attention. That's why it's so important for you to stay alert, to stay open, to stay ready. There's a young man's story I want to tell you. His name is Tyler Perry. For years, he poured his heart and soul into plays, often sleeping in his car, with audiences so small they could barely fill a room. People mocked him, told him to quit, but he refused. He kept writing, kept performing, kept believing. One night, after years of failure, the right people showed up, and his life transformed overnight. From homelessness to building his own film empire, all because he didn't quit when it looked like nothing was working. Capricorn, is that your story too? Haven't you been giving and giving, yet wondering when the harvest will come? What if you're just one night away from the right eyes seeing your gift, one phone call away from the door you've prayed for? And yet there is more, something I haven't told you yet. The Big Friday miracle is not just about breakthrough in your circumstances, it's about revelation of who you really are. You've been identifying yourself by what you lack, by what you've lost, by what hasn't worked. But those labels are being stripped away. Just as Saul was transformed into Paul, your identity is shifting. You're not just a survivor, you're a builder, a leader, a chosen one. This season will reveal your true name, your true role, your true purpose. So right now, I want you to do something prophetic. Type "I receive" in the comments, not just as words, but as a declaration. Because your agreement is the final key. Don't just watch passively, align yourself actively. And as you do, watch how the doors begin to open, the calls begin to come, the shifts begin to manifest. But Capricorn, hear me when I say this. The miracle isn't just coming from outside. It's awakening from within you. That resilience, that vision, that untapped gift you've been carrying, it's rising. The Big Friday miracle is not only that things around you change, but that you finally see yourself as you were always meant to be. And when that vision locks into place, nothing, no delay, no enemy, no rejection can stop what unfolds next. Capricorn, listen closely, because the energy around you is shifting, and this message is not by chance. It's arriving at the very moment you needed it most. Before I even begin, I need you to do something powerful. Pause for a second, hit that subscribe button, tap the like, and comment. I claim this right now, because engaging with this message is like opening the gates for the blessings to flow faster into your life. The moment you act with faith, you align yourself with the very energy that's about to bring transformation. Do not watch passively. Your action right now is a signal to the universe that you are ready, that you are claiming what belongs to you, and that nothing will stop you from walking into the miracle that has your name on it. Capricorn, there are seasons in life where you carry so much responsibility, you wonder if anyone sees the load on your shoulders. You smile in public, but in private, you break under the weight of everything you're carrying: family obligations, financial struggles, silent battles no one else knows about. People often think you're strong enough for anything, but they don't realize the nights you lay awake, questioning how much longer you can keep going. It feels like you're in a race where the finish line keeps moving farther and farther away, and yet, deep down, you've kept holding on because something inside you refuses to quit. This is the part of your story where everything is about to shift. Do you realize that some of the greatest breakthroughs in history only came after long periods of struggle and silence? Think of Thomas Edison. He failed more than 1,000 times before perfecting the light bulb, but he said every failure was not the end. It was one more step toward success. Your failures, Capricorn, are not evidence of defeat. They are the groundwork for your breakthrough. Every tear you cried, every rejection, every closed door, it wasn't wasted. It was preparing you for the miracle that is now standing in front of you. The Big Friday has come, and with it comes an opportunity so life-altering, you will look back at every sleepless night and realize it was the seed that bloomed into your new life. You might think it's a coincidence that you're hearing this right now, but there are no coincidences. Just like in the Bible, when Joseph was thrown into a pit by his brothers, sold into slavery, and left for dead. Years later, the same Joseph rose to become second in command over Egypt, saving nations from famine. The pit was not the end, it was the path. And right now, Capricorn, your pit, your betrayal, your rejection, your suffering is the very stage being set for your rise. The same people who doubted you, overlooked you, and turned their backs will soon have no choice but to witness your elevation. Let me share a real story with you. A woman named Sarah grew up in poverty, barely making it through school. She worked odd jobs to feed her siblings while everyone else told her she wouldn't make it far. She applied to job after job and was rejected over and over again. But she didn't stop. One day, she took a chance on herself, started a small catering business from her kitchen, and within a few years, it turned into a multi-million-dollar company. Today, she employs hundreds of people and gives back to the same community that once looked down on her. Sarah's story isn't just hers, it mirrors your own. You've been rejected, overlooked, doubted, but inside you is the same unshakable resilience. And Capricorn, here is the truth. This Big Friday energy is about cycles breaking. You've been in a cycle where you give more than you receive, where you pour out your energy, time, and resources into people who take without giving back. That cycle is ending. The energy is shifting, and for once, the balance is being restored in your favor. Those who drained you will fade away, those who betrayed you will expose themselves, and those who underestimated you will soon see that the tables have turned. This is not just about money or material blessings, though those are coming. It's about recognition, restoration, and the kind of peace that money cannot buy. Think about Oprah Winfrey's story. Born into poverty in rural Mississippi, abused as a child, mocked, and told she would never be good enough, Oprah faced trial after trial. But instead of letting those circumstances destroy her, she used them as fuel. She rose to become one of the most powerful women in the world, not just wealthy, but influential, changing millions of lives. What if she had quit when life was unfair? What if she had believed the lies people told her about her worth? Capricorn, do you see the pattern? You are standing at the same threshold. The same way Oprah's pain became her platform, your struggles are becoming the foundation of your future. And there's something deeper here, something divine. Do you remember the story of David facing Goliath? Everyone laughed at David, said he was too small, too inexperienced to fight a giant. But what no one knew was that David had already fought lions and bears in secret. He had been preparing in silence for the battle that would make him king. Capricorn, that's you. Your silent battles, the fights no one saw, the nights you wrestled with fear and kept going anyway. That was your training ground. That's why when the giant appears in front of you now, you're not going to run. You're going to take it down, and that giant will become the doorway to your next level. I need you to really think about this. Haven't you noticed the strange signs around you lately? The sudden dreams that feel so real, the repeated numbers you keep seeing, the coincidences that don't feel like coincidences at all. That's confirmation. The universe, God, your angels, whatever name you give it, they are sending signals that your season is shifting. This isn't your imagination. This isn't wishful thinking. The energy of this Big Friday is aligning everything that was scattered in your life, pulling it together into one clear path forward. But Capricorn, here, where it gets deeper, your breakthrough will not come in the way you expect. It won't come from the same sources you've been waiting on. It won't be from the people you think owe you an apology or the job you've been hopping for. It's coming from an unexpected direction. Just like how in history, Julius Caesar crossed the Rubicon, an act that no one expected, but it changed the course of Rome forever. You are about to cross your own Rubicon. Once you step into this moment, there is no turning back. And maybe you've been asking yourself, why has it taken so long? Why did others seem to get ahead while you were left behind? But think of bamboo. For years, you water it and nothing happens. You wait, and it feels like nothing is growing. But suddenly, after years of silence, it shoots up feet high in just weeks. Capricorn, you are the bamboo, the years of silence. The years where nothing seemed to move, that was your rooting season. And now, you're about to shoot up so fast, people will ask, where did they come from? They won't know the years of patience, pain, and preparation you endured in silence. And I must remind you, every miracle requires action. Remember when Peter cast his net in the Bible? He had been fishing all night with nothing to show. Then Jesus told him to cast the net one more time, and it overflowed with fish. The difference was obedience. The miracle was waiting the whole time. It just required action. Right now, your action is not just to listen. It's to declare, to claim, to step into the faith that this message is yours. That's why I told you at the start, don't just watch, engage. When you like, when you comment, when you declare, I receive it, you're aligning your spirit with the very energy that delivers the miracle. Capricorn, this Big Friday is not like any other day. It's not just about luck. It's about divine timing. The kind of timing where doors that were locked for years suddenly swing open, where debts are suddenly cleared, where healing begins in places you thought would always remain broken. You've been praying for change, and this is the moment where heaven leans down and says, now. And as you hear these words, your spirit knows it's true. Because the chills, the stirring inside, that's not just emotion, that's confirmation. And yet, even in this, there's one more truth that you don't yet see, one more layer waiting to be revealed that will make sense of everything you've endured. Capricorn, the time has come, and this message is arriving for you at the exact moment when your spirit has been silently calling out for a sign. Before I go deeper, I need you to pause right now, yes, you, and take an action of faith. hit that subscribe button, like this video, and write "I claim this" in the comments. Why? Because when you act in alignment with the words you're hearing, you send a signal to the universe, to God, and to the energies surrounding you that you are ready to receive. Too often, people sit and listen but never act, and they wonder why nothing changes. This is your moment to break that cycle. Act now, because what's being released in this very season is directly tied to your willingness to respond in faith. You've carried a heavy load, Capricorn. People see you smiling, working, grinding, but they don't see the tears that fall in silence when you're alone. You've sacrificed so much for others, and still you find yourself asking, when will it be my turn? It feels like every time you get close to a breakthrough, something interrupts it. Like a door half open that slams shut just when you try to step through. But here's the truth. This pattern of near success is ending. The cycle of delay is being broken. You've endured long enough, and what's ahead of you now is a shift so dramatic, so undeniable, that even you will stand in awe of how quickly life can turn when divine timing takes over. Do you remember how Nelson Mandela spent 27 years in prison? He was stripped of his freedom, his youth, his opportunities. People forgot about him, many assumed his story was over. But when he emerged, he didn't just walk out as a free man, he walked out as a leader destined to transform his nation. That waiting season, that prison season, was not wasted, it was preparation. Capricorn, your prison season is ending. The walls you felt trapped in are cracking. The delays that caged you are breaking. Just like Mandela, you are stepping into a new chapter that was worth every tear, every year of struggle, every lonely night. And this is where it gets even more real, because sometimes the very thing that breaks us is what also builds us. Look at the story of Job in the Bible. He lost everything, his wealth, his children, his health. People told him to curse God and give up. But Job held on, even when it made no sense, even when the pain was unbearable. And in the end, everything he lost was restored, multiplied far beyond what he ever had before. Capricorn, your losses have been heavy, but they are not the end. They are the setup for restoration. That's why lately you've felt this strange stirring in your spirit. Even in the middle of exhaustion, something inside you refuses to give up. That's your job moment, your sign that restoration is on its way. Let me share a real story with you. A man named Mark was a musician who struggled for over a decade. He played in small bars, worked side jobs, and barely paid his bills. Many nights he thought about giving up. Then one day, out of nowhere, a video of him playing went viral online. Within months, he was invited to perform on major stages, and today he's recognized globally. What changed? One moment of divine alignment. One day where all the years of preparation met the right opportunity. Capricorn, this is where you are now. The years you spent grinding in silence are about to collide with a moment of visibility that will change everything. And there's something you need to hear. This miracle won't come through the channels you expect. You've been waiting on certain people to recognize your worth, on certain doors to open, but those are not the paths chosen for you. God is about to use the unexpected. Remember David? He wasn't even in the lineup when Samuel came to anoint a king. His own family overlooked him, left him tending sheep. Yet the oil would not flow until David showed up. That's you, Capricorn. The oil is waiting for you. The recognition, the blessing, the miracle, it won't settle on anyone else because it has your name on it. Think about Oprah Winfrey. She faced rejection after rejection in her early career. She was even told she wasn't fit for television, but she refused to let their words define her. Instead, she built her own platform, and today she's not only successful, but one of the most influential voices of our time. Capricorn, this is why the rejections you faced weren't rejections at all. They were redirections. The very no that broke your heart was clearing the path for a greater yes that only you could walk into. And yet, even with all of this unfolding, there's another layer, something you felt but couldn't quite put into words. Haven't you noticed how lately old relationships, old habits, even old environments seem to be falling away? It's not because you've failed, it's because you've outgrown them. The version of you that struggled to fit into those spaces no longer exists. You're evolving, and with evolution comes separation. It's uncomfortable, yes, but it's necessary. Just like a butterfly cannot remain in the cocoon, you cannot remain in spaces that limit your wings. Capricorn, I need you to listen closely. The miracle ahead of you isn't just financial, it's transformational. It's the kind of shift where you wake up one morning and realize you're not the same person you were before. The kind where opportunities align, relationships heal or are replaced with better ones, and peace floods your life in a way you didn't think possible. And here, where the climax builds, you've been asking for answers, but the answers won't come in whispers anymore. They're coming in undeniable signs, bold confirmations, and breakthroughs you can't ignore. But hear what makes this even more powerful. The very people who doubted you are about to witness your rise. Remember how Joseph's brothers betrayed him, sold him into slavery, and left him for dead. Years later, they had to bow before him, not knowing it was their brother who now held the keys to their survival. Capricorn, the ones who counted you out will soon need you. The tables are turning, and the same mouths that spoke against you will speak your name with respect. And I know this feels overwhelming, almost too good to be true. But think of bamboo, silent for years, appearing as though nothing is happening underground, and then suddenly it shoots up feet high in just weeks. That's you, Capricorn. Years of silence, years of waiting, years of wondering if your time will ever come, and now suddenly everything is about to rise. You are the bamboo, and the world is about to watch your rapid growth. So what do you do now? You claim it. You align yourself with it. You don't sit back and let this message pass you by. You speak it into your life, you declare it, and you act on it. That's why I told you from the start, subscribe, like, comment, I claim this, because your action is the key that unlocks the flow. Don't delay, don't hesitate. Faith without action is dead. Your miracle is alive, waiting, ready, but it responds to your movement. And as you move, as you align, remember this: what's coming is not just about success. It's about destiny. It's about stepping into the role you were always meant to play, the life you were always meant to live. You are not here by accident. You are here because the big Friday has arrived, and with it comes the miracle that will redefine everything you thought you knew about your own story. And yet, as powerful as all of this is, there's still something deeper, a final revelation that ties every moment of your struggle and every glimpse of your blessing together. Capricorn, there's something about this moment you cannot ignore. It's no accident you're hearing this now, because your spirit has been restless, searching for confirmation, waiting for a voice that speaks directly to the places no one else sees. Before we begin, I need you to pause and take one small but powerful step. Subscribe right now, like this message, and write "I received this" in the comments. Why? Because your action declares to the universe that you're not just listening, you're aligning. Every time you take a step in faith, no matter how small, it breaks resistance in the unseen. You've been silent too long, Capricorn. It's time to move with intention. I know what you've carried. The world may see strength, but they don't see the cracks in your spirit, the moments you've cried behind closed doors, the nights you've stared at the ceiling wondering if all your effort will ever pay off. You've been strong for so long that people assume you don't need help, but inside you've felt exhausted, almost invisible. And yet, here you are still standing. That alone is proof that there's more to your story. The same resilience that's kept you alive through battles others could never endure is about to reward you with a breakthrough you can barely imagine. Think about this. Have you noticed how the hardest moments in your life often happen right before something shifts? The heartbreak before you meet someone better, the job loss before an unexpected opportunity, the betrayal that forces you onto a path you never would have chosen, but one that leads you to destiny. You, Capricorn, are standing on that edge right now. You can feel it, even if you can't explain it. That quiet whisper in your spirit that says, something is coming. It's not your imagination, it's confirmation. There was a woman named Gloria who for years worked tirelessly in a small office. She showed up early, stayed late, but was always overlooked for promotions. Younger, less experienced coworkers passed her by, and she started to believe her efforts meant nothing. But then, out of nowhere, her company was bought by a larger corporation, and everything shifted. When the new managers reviewed performance records, her dedication stood out so strongly that they not only promoted her, but gave her authority over those who once dismissed her. She went from invisible to indispensable in a matter of weeks. Capricorn, that's the kind of reversal waiting for you. Invisible seasons are turning into seasons of undeniable recognition. And here, where the suspense deepens, you've been asking, why so many delays? Why do my blessings take so long? But the truth is, your blessing hasn't been delayed, it's been preserved. Just like fine wine cannot be rushed, your destiny has been agging in silence, waiting for the right moment to be poured out. You see, had you received it earlier, you wouldn't have been ready. You would have wasted it on people who didn't deserve you or in places that couldn't sustain you. But now you've been tested, refined, strengthened. What's about to arrive isn't fragile, it's lasting. Another story. There was a man named David who lost everything in a fire, his home, his belongings, even his sense of safety. For months he lived in despair, convinced his life was ruined. But in rebuilding, he discovered skills he never knew he had. He started helping neighbors repair their homes, then started a small business. Years later, that business grew into a company that gave him more than he ever lost in the fire. The destruction wasn't the end, it was the beginning. Capricorn, your fire moment, the event that seemed to burn everything away, wasn't meant to destroy you. It was meant to reveal a version of you that could only rise through ashes. But let's go deeper. Haven't you noticed how lately you've been losing people? Friends fading, relationships breaking, old circles no longer fitting. That's not rejection, it's graduation. Butterflies cannot stay in cocoons. Diamonds cannot form without pressure. And you cannot carry dead weight into a future built for expansion. The universe is pruning you, Capricorn. Every goodbye is making room for a bigger hello. Every closed door is forcing you toward the one door that will never shut in your face. Think of Joseph, betrayed by his brothers, sold into slavery, imprisoned unjustly. For years it looked like his life was wasted, but every setback was secretly placing him in the exact position to rise. When famine hit, he wasn't just free, he was in charge of an entire nation's survival. Capricorn, your setbacks have been strategic. The betrayal, the loss, the pain, it wasn't pointless. It was positioning. And here's what you must understand. Your breakthrough won't be small. It won't be something you can hide. Just like bamboo stays underground for years and then suddenly shoots up feet in weeks, your growth will be rapid, undeniable, and unstoppable. People who overlooked you will be forced to acknowledge you. Those who doubted you will regret their words. And those who stayed loyal to you will rise with you. But there's more, something I must reveal that ties everything together. You've been sensing it already, a tension, a build-up, almost like standing outside before a storm breaks. That pressure isn't punishment, it's the sign that release is near. The climax of your story hasn't even arrived yet. The best chapters are still unwritten. And when they unfold, Capricorn, they will reveal why every single tear, every setback, and every lonely night was worth it. So I ask you again, will you sit back and let this pass you by, or will you claim it now? Don't wait. Declare it, write it, speak it, share it. Because your voice, your action, your faith is the signal that unlocks the floodgates. And when they open, nothing, not doubt, not fear, not the past, can stop what's coming next. And yet, even with all that I've spoken, there's still a deeper truth, a hidden thread that explains why this season, this exact moment, is unlike any you've ever faced before. Capricorn, listen closely, because this message isn't reaching you by accident. There's a reason your spirit pulled you here, a reason these words will feel like they are written directly for you. Before we move deeper, I want you to take a step of faith right now. Subscribe, like this video, and type, "I claim this," in the comments. Why? Because your action seals your agreement with what is being spoken over your life. It's more than a routine click. It's an alignment, a declaration that you're ready to step into what has been waiting for you. Every time you act in faith, you disrupt the delays that have been blocking your progress, and Capricorn, you have had enough delays. You've carried the weight of silence longer than most people realize. You've walked with a smile, while inside you felt the heaviness of disappointment, the sting of being underestimated, the weariness of pushing through doors that refuse to open. People look at you and see strength, but they don't see how often you've held your breath in the dark, hoping something, anything, would finally break in your favor. You've been too strong for too long, and the universe has taken notice. What has been hidden in silence is about to speak loudly in your life, and what you thought was lost time is about to be restored in ways you never saw coming. Think about how many times you've come close to quitting. You said to yourself, maybe it's not for me, maybe I'm not meant to win, maybe I should settle. But something deep inside refused to let you give up. That stubborn fire within you, that quiet refusal to bow to defeat, is the very thing that has kept your name written in the book of breakthroughs. Because Capricorn, the truth is, you weren't being denied, you were being prepared. Every delay, every not yet, every closed door was shaping you into the version of yourself that could carry the blessing without breaking under its weight. There was a woman named Althea who worked for years as a nurse in a small rural clinic. Day after day, she gave everything to her patients, often going unpaid, sometimes even using her own money to buy medicine for those who had nothing. People admired her dedication, but she felt invisible to the world. Then, one evening, a patient she once treated returned years later, not just as a survivor, but as the owner of a growing healthcare company. He recognized her face, remembered her kindness, and insisted she come work for him. Within months, she went from struggling to pay her rent to traveling the world, overseeing medical projects that carried her name. Capricorn, do you see the pattern? You may feel unseen, but you are never forgotten. What you have sown in secret will return to you in the open, multiplied. And here's the part that will shake you. Your breakthrough won't come in the form you expect. You've been watching certain doors, waiting for certain people, relying on certain paths. But the blessing that's coming will surprise you because it won't arrive through the channel you're staring at. It will come sideways, from the blind spots of your life, from places you least anticipate. The very thing you thought was irrelevant will become the key that unlocks everything. That's why the universe has been removing people from your circle, closing doors, forcing you into uncomfortable spaces. You thought it was rejection, but it was redirection. Take the story of Marcus. For years, he worked in construction, building homes for others while he could barely afford to keep his own. One day, the company he worked for shut down, leaving him jobless. He was devastated, convinced life had finally defeated him, but with no other choice, he started doing small, independent projects. Word spread about his work, and slowly his reputation grew. Within 3 years, he wasn't just surviving, he owned one of the most successful construction firms in his city. The setback that felt like death was the very thing that birthed his destiny. Capricorn, your story mirrors his. What looks like an ending is really an entrance. But let's not pretend you haven't been broken in the process. The betrayals cut deeper than you let on. People you trusted walked away at the very moment you needed them most. Friends who once swore loyalty went silent. Even family doubted you. And yet, despite the ache, you rose again. You patched yourself back together, even if you had to do it in silence. That resilience is not wasted. Every tear you cried is an investment, and the return is about to show up in ways that will make even your enemies acknowledge your rise. Capricorn, there's something about the way you endure storms. Others break, but you bend and come back stronger. It's why your enemies underestimated you. They thought the fire would consume you, but it only refined you. They thought the silence meant you were finished, but in truth you were being sharpened. They thought the losses were permanent, but they were only temporary. And soon, the same people who counted you out will have no choice but to count on you. The suspense is building because we are nearing the climax of your story. The truth is, your next blessing isn't just about you, it's generational. It will break curses, heal wounds, and shift the trajectory of everyone connected to you. Your breakthrough is not personal, it's prophetic. That's why it's taken so long, why it's felt so heavy. Because what you're about to carry is bigger than you. It's for your children, your family, your legacy. But here is what few people will ever tell you: your blessing is timed with precision. It will not arrive too early, and it will not arrive too late. It will come exactly when it needs to, when you have been fully prepared to handle its weight. And Capricorn, whether you feel ready or not, that time is near. You've been sensing it, haven't you? That strange restlessness, that feeling that something is about to shift, even though you can't put it into words. It's not just a feeling, it's a signal. The universe is whispering, get ready. So let me ask you, Capricorn, are you truly ready to receive it? Are you willing to let go of what's fading, to stop clinging to dead seasons, to embrace the new without hesitation? If you are, then take this step of faith. Subscribe now, like this message, declare, I am ready in the comments. Not for me, but for you. Because every time you put your faith into action, you align yourself with what is meant for you. And yet, even with all of this being said, there is still something deeper, something hidden in the silence of your journey that explains why this season has been the way it is. A truth that most will never understand until it's revealed in the very last moments. And when it comes to light, Capricorn, it will not only shock you, it will confirm every mystery, every delay, every hidden battle you've endured in silence.